This is the way I'm gonna live. Awake, alert, alive. No more defending or pretending or any of that jive. 'Cause there's a love bus here. All aboard, we're gonna take it for a ride. Love, riding the love, riding the love bus. Love, riding the love, riding the love bus. Friends and strangers we will meet on our loving street. Life can be so very sweet when you're sitting in the front seat. Cooperation, demonstration, everywhere. Love and laughter fill the air. Love, riding the love, riding the love bus. Love, riding the love, riding the love bus. Love, riding the love, riding the love, riding the love, love bus. Giving and receiving on loving shores. People coming out of their open doors. Jump on the love bus, there's plenty of space. We made a reservation for the human race. Yeah. Find your location, everyone's got a view. Let's see what love can do. Love, riding the love, riding the love bus. Love, riding the love, riding the love bus. Love, riding the love, riding the love, riding the love bus. How, 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 how.
Welcome to the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living. We are a vibrant, inclusive, and spiritual community that seeks to live intentionally, love unconditionally, and see God in all people and in all faiths. We believe the work we do in prayer and in the community creates a world that works for all cultures, races, orientations, and faiths. For over 60 years, we have practiced thinking globally and acting locally to help awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. Annually, hundreds of people actively participate in our services, classes, events, and in our Spanish-speaking ministry. And we are training the next generation of spiritual leadership in our ministerial school. In the last few years, because of apparent divisions politically and socially, and because of threats to basic human rights, we have magnified our application of science of mind principles with engagement and compassion in action in the greater Napa Valley community. Our members have participated in women's marches, pride events, and we have hosted speakers on racial issues. We have empowered and mentored diverse leaders in our community and given scholarships to diverse ministerial students. We have donated over 4,000 pounds of food to our local food bank. Our spiritual director, Reverend Jay Lang, has facilitated an interfaith leadership group to hold public prayer vigils and 9/11 commemorations in participation with Jews, Muslims, and Christians. We have fostered the creation of a beloved community in the larger Napa Valley area by honoring community heroes at events and tithing to and partnering with a dozen different nonprofits that share our vision. Together, we've created a Martin Luther King Day of Service where over 1,200 participated in community service annually. The leadership of our parent organization, the Centers for Spiritual Living, headquartered in Golden, Colorado, recognized our community for all of the outstanding, compassionate work we've been doing over the last few years with the 2022 Meritorious Community Award. As we move forward to do this work of the heart, to awaken the world to its spiritual magnificence, will you join us as we continue to ascend to new heights and create a world that works for everyone?
For spiritual living. You know, I love it. Usually I think I want everybody to be quiet, but this actually is a good sign that we're all having a good time today. We're talking. So I think it's a celebration of life we're having today. We all got our pride on and our joy within us, and we're so happy. I'm so happy to be here and happy to join in this community. And we like to start out with some music. So I'm turning it over to Narayan Janet. All theirs.
Y'all ready? Hey, I'm in a tin can. No, I'm just kidding.
Little George Harrison in the house.
Sweet love.
Such a fun song. We affirm that Spirit is always with us, always around us, at every notice. But sometimes it takes a long time to get to there within us. God's not out there, but that song I always love George Harrison's song because it implies that God's out there, but really even within us, sometimes it takes a few minutes. But not here today. Right? Spirit is in the house, and we know it. I'm so glad to welcome you. I'm Reverend Jay Lang, the senior minister here, and it's so good to have all of you in the room, all of you online joining us, and wondering if this happens to be your first time. Welcome. Will be a special acknowledgement later in the service. But I do want to introduce some VIPs, if you want to call that, some people that I just want to acknowledge them in the room. First of all, it's Reverend Carolyn. Is that right? Is it from Unity? You're not a minister. You're from Unity of Vacaville, but you're not. Okay, I was misunderstood that. You were married to, there you go. Well, I believe, so being married to someone who's married to a minister, that is sometimes more work than being a minister, so. But I want to introduce, if you don't know them, Hal and Sonia Milton. And to give you the backstory, they were the ministers of Unity of Napa when it was in this building. Wow. And it's been 23 years ago, you said? Since you were in here. Yeah, so long story. If you want the rest of the story, see her after the service. There's a longer story. But I consider both of you as friends, as well as colleagues, so thank you for being here with us today. So, and welcome all of us today. It's such a beautiful day to be in the neighborhood, so to speak, and be in this neighborhood. We like to start our service with our vision and mission statement. So if you'll look on your screen at home or here in the community and read with me, we are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission statement, we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. So it's a glorious affirmation today. I know I take it with me during the week. It gives me a good reminder of not only the vision of this community, but my own personal vision to live intentionally, love unconditionally, as much as we can, and seeing God in all people and all faith. So good to be part of that vision and mission. So before we begin our service, our sacred part of service, I want to give you a few announcements. First of all, today, this month is Pride Month. We celebrate that. We honor, let's give that a round of applause. We honor and embrace all our LGBTQ plus friends, neighbors, and community members that we the original, it was in June because of the Stonewall Uprising that happened in June of 1969 in New York City, because before that, police were just raiding these gay bars and arresting people for not doing anything at all but being themselves. And so it was really a stand that began, not only was there a lot of civil rights activism happening, but began the LGBTQ rights marches and Pride Month, and how important that was to do that. And it's interesting about our own Centers for Spiritual Living, we have always been open and affirming, but we didn't say it. And so we weren't proud in that way. We weren't a proud ally, and I am happy that we have stepped out more now and have participated in Pride events as allies and as members of that community, and that we know that it's more than toleration. I think we talked about that word. It just gives me chills sometimes how not compassionate it is. Like, oh yeah, well, we'll tolerate them, But the idea of embracing and honoring and acknowledging and including, not because it's popular, but we know that that love wins, and that love is love is love is love, and we affirm that there's only one love, and that is sourced in spirit, and we see it in all people. I also know together we are stronger. all faiths, all cultures, all orientation, all gender identities. We are all stronger because of our diversity. And that so I saw this on Facebook and I liked it. I'd rather be excluded for who I include rather than be included for who I exclude. And I think that's a good thing that we affirm here today, that we want to be radically inclusive of all people. And if some people don't want to be part of this community because we're too inclusive, well, that's okay. They can go somewhere else. So that we continue to be alive in that way and continue to support that. And we know that being gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans, or queer is not a choice, but it's the way we are born, and it's our expression. And I know for myself, I had a friend in Colorado who's 20 years older than me, and he didn't come out till he was 65. Not because he was in denial. He was in denial. It wasn't because he didn't feel safe. He didn't realize he was gay until he was 65. But that's because there wasn't a safety for him to be out. My generation tended to come out as adults. Some of us even had families before we came out. And what I love about this generation now is they're coming out as teens and even sometimes children because it's safe to be out of the closet, so to speak. And I'm so happy for that we can be in a place and in this community where people are safe and feel included in all things. So, a couple other announcements here. That next Sunday is our Green Bag Sunday. If you're not been part of this program, that's where you can, and we have green bags today. If you want to take them with you, you take them and you fill them up with non-perishable food items for the food bank. You can just take the bag with you to the grocery store and fill it up as you do your regular shopping. Bring it back here either during the week or on Sunday, and then Janice Davis is not here today, but she takes it to the food bank, which creates a distribution system to the different pantries that are here in Napa Valley that allow people to get food not just over holidays of particular giving, but year-round food for low-income people. So we appreciate being a part of that program. So we invite you to participate with us to do that. So green bags are out. And if you forget everything, just bring it in any bag or any box you got. Just bring it by next Sunday. So that's great. Also, we're going to have a grand opening for our courtyard. It's a beautiful courtyard that's out there. Just to be announced on a particular date where I'm waiting for a confirmation from someone, but it'll be in late June, either the Friday or Saturday evening, the 23rd or 24th, so save the date for that. And then also on June 20th, we're going to have a summer solstice celebration in the courtyard in the evening, and it'll be ritualistic. We're going to have drumming. We're going to have a fire, a contained fire, don't worry, but way we have it. But just to celebrate the fullness of the day, the longest day of the year is on the 20th and 21st. We're having it in the evening between those two long days. And then also we're inviting, now that we have this beautiful courtyard, we're inviting you to be part of helping keep it, the landscaping and everything in good shape. And what's fun is Lori Hart here is, why don't you stand up, Lori, first of all. So, that she's going to be out in the courtyard today, and she has a way that you can do jobs that aren't like spending hours at a time doing it. There are little chunks, 5 different positions. 5 minutes it does it. And she's calling them the Grateful Dead headers, the Jasmine twirlers, the Fountainhead, the Lavender Brigade, and the Little Ollie Lovers, and the Mighty Oak Nuts, and the Weed Watchers, and the Color Changers. So all of these things are just little things you can do. You can come by. By the way, this courtyard is open during the week. You don't have to wait on Sunday. Come by and just spend a few moments of peace in our courtyard. And then if you have a little job to do, you can do that too. So it doesn't take much time. We're also looking for people to join our production team. And in particular, we're looking for people who would communicate with people that are online members. So that's a great way to start, to just message them. Sometimes you guys feel left out. I know that we want to include you as much as possible, so to create a little dialogue with them and be able to include them in any way we can. So we appreciate our online viewers, and we want to give them as good a product as we can in what we do. And then finally, I wanted to say in July, whoops, where'd that slide go? Where's my Crush MS? I'm missing my Crush MS slide. So let me just say it out loud. July 30th. July, thank you. Karen, could you stand up for a moment? So July 29th, and Crush MS is an important part of our giving, of our community service we do. We provide usually over half the volunteers, if not more, for Crush MS. And so if you want to be a part of that event, it's a beautiful event to be part of. Please talk to Karen. She'll be here after the service, and let her know about, I already had one person tell me about something they wanted, so I'll talk to you about that afterwards. And it's a beautiful fundraiser to prevent and do research on multiple sclerosis. And it's an important part of what we do here. So I appreciate you being a part of that. Saturday, July 29th. Thank you. And now, know that we are here for you in all ways. The practitioners will be here after the service to pray with you if you so want. There's prayer requests online and in the lobby, and anything else that you might need, please call the office and we'll get back to you to provide resources or sources that will help you be supported. So thank you for being a part of this community. And now we'll begin with our regular part of our service.
There is so much beauty in the universe. There is so much healing going on.
So much beauty in the universe. So much beauty going on.
There is so much peace in the universe. There is so much healing going on.
There is so much beauty in the universe. So much healing, so much healing going on.
So much wisdom, so much grace in the universe. So much healing, so much healing going on.
If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes or soften your gaze. Just take a moment to breathe. take a moment to feel that stillness, that quiet presence that is divine spirit, that is in and around and through and expressing in this beautiful sanctuary, in each one of you, in the air we breathe, in the brilliant sunlight on this beautiful day. So we just give thanks for this knowing. We give thanks for this unconditional love that is us, that's around us. So we just give thanks for this day. We give thanks for this service. We give thanks for every word spoken, for the music, for the message, knowing that we are blessed, we are loved. And knowing that, let's sit in the silence for a moment. And just give thanks again for this blessing, for this day, everything evolving for our highest good. We just let that be, and so it is. Good morning. So recently I've been really inspired by two things. One is that a group of us finished a book study group for 6 weeks where we really deeply looked at Valerie Carr's book on See No Stranger, Revolutionary Love, and it was wonderful and deep. It was really good, and we're going to reconvene and work on some projects on revolutionary love that we can bring to the community, so that's exciting. And then on Wednesday evening, some of us and Reverend Jay went to Temple Beth Shalom to participate in a community meeting around anti-Semitism. And many of you may know that there's 2 individuals in the community who are posting hateful signs in their yards, and they can do that because of their First Amendment rights. And one of those individuals has posted very hateful anti-Semitic signs. So it was wonderful to come together as a coalescing community to be unified in our support and love for our Jewish friends and neighbors. And some great ideas are coming about that, including a great idea by Joanne for a positive sign campaign. So within all that excitement, the next day I woke up and I felt really anxious and worried and fearful again. Like, I don't know if that happens to you, but it happens to me. And I started with all the what ifs. Like, what if we create these beautiful projects and nothing happens? It's meaningless. Or what if there's a backlash? What if I can't get out of my judgment about these people? And so it brings me back to the fundamental problem of us humans, that we have this mistaken belief that we're separate. And that feeling of separation creates otherness, us and them. And that disruption in relationship, whether it's between you and the divine, within yourself, with others, or your opponents, causes all kinds of terrible damage. So I have to get myself back in alignment, right? And I have to use my spiritual practice. But I thought of something the Dalai Lama said, that it doesn't really matter what your religion is, but you need right thinking and a kind heart. And also that Buddhist chant, may all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be happy and at peace. So I have to reaffirm for myself, there's only oneness. There's one infinite consciousness, divine intelligence, creative source where we all come from. And it gives us life, it breathes us, it beats our heart, and it loves us unconditionally. So we're all kind of in the same cosmic boat, if you will. But that helps me to get my thinking straight, as Ernest Holmes said, to turn the preponderance of your thoughts to good. And then that helps me. It helps me fill my heart back with loving kindness towards myself and others. And if any of you have kids or grandkids who play video games, you know you lose your life force and you have to do tasks and get little hearts and power up your life force again. So that's what we're doing. And that helps cultivate my compassion, so then I can be curious and wonder without judgment about myself and about others, and even those people posting hateful signs. Like, how did they get that way?
what void happened in their life to fill them with hate. And then that compassion helps me so I can participate in alleviating the suffering of others. So all that really helps stay grounded in my spiritual practice. And then that brings us to happiness and peace. So yesterday, my grandkids and I decided to do a little meditation. So we set up a beautiful altar, and we did some spiritual, energetic cleansing, and we said some prayers. And then we were going to meditate for 15 minutes. But we had to add 5 minutes because only 2 minutes were meditating. The rest was giggling and then uncontrollable laughter. And you know what? It was so beautiful. It just filled my heart with happiness. And so my grandchildren and our children and their future are what keep me going and grounding myself continually back in my spiritual practice so we can create good. It's not a self-righteous good. It's a thoughtful good that's compassionate and helps us create a world that works for everyone. So it is.
That was awesome. Thank you for that. And a great setup for this, because when do we feel the connection and continue? Now. We do it now. So that's what this song's about. Next song's about. Jay, do you have something you want to add? All right. Let's do it.
Welcome to the beginning
Of your life.
Welcome to the beginning
Of our lives.
Welcome to the beginning. Whoa, come on, let's go. It starts today, you know, the beginning
Of your life.
Welcome to the beginning
Of our lives.
Welcome to the beginning. Whoa, come on, let's go. Welcome to your show.
Time is wasting if you're hasty. Taste the moments, everlasting.
Get on your horse, dear. Let go of all fear.
Fully see here what love is showing. Nature growing, water flowing, hair is blowing, people are knowing.
Life is liable to be tribal on arrival. It's the beginning of your life. Welcome to the beginning. It's the beginning of your life. Welcome to the beginning. Whoa, come on, let's go. It starts today, you know.
Sweet surrender, ender bender.
Negativity, return to sender.
Heart relating, meditating, anticipating.
It's the beginning of your life. Welcome to the beginning. Beginning of your life. Welcome to the beginning. Whoa, come on, let's go. It starts today, you know. Come on, you know.
Your life begins when you begin to love.
You begin to love.
Welcome to the beginning.
Great song. I love that. I never thought about that in terms of spiritual context. It's perfect. Always a new beginning. Always refresh and renew ourselves, the ability to go within and find that which we're seeking. So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much. So this is June, and we're starting a new theme this month of living out loud. It's kind of the theme also we've had for the whole year, but I think particularly being June, it's not only to honor GLBTQ plus living loud and proud, but also in our own lives. I would say Unity and Centers for Spiritual Living began as a contemplative inner journey. And in the last 20 years, particularly I know more about Centers for Spiritual Living, that we've matured as a faith, and I'm sure Unity has too. I'm just not as acquainted with that right now. But Centers for Spiritual Living used to kind of have an attitude about, well, all you need to do is change your thinking and change your life. And it was a little bit of an arrogant stance sometimes and judgmental. And I think we stepped into being more compassionate and hearing what struggles people are having and willing to do the community outreach that meets people where they're at. And to me, that's about living our faith out loud. Yes, it is finding our truth, what Laura was talking about, the oneness that we can experience that gives us this hope, but it's also living out loud in attending meetings and being a part of marches and events and working with nonprofits. One of the nonprofits we honored a year and a half ago at Sip and Savor, Feed It Forward. I just read an article in the Register that they took all the food that's left over from Bottle Rock and distributed it to the different shelters and different organizations that needed that food, gave it away to people. So, I mean, that food, guess what, would have been thrown away because they couldn't resell it because it had been opened and out of. So David Busby was able to do that. So that's one of the organizations that we are a part of. And it's so great to be a part of organizations like that are stepping out in this way. And this week in particular, we're talking about unfurling our magnificence. Now, that has to do with flags that we're talking about. We unfurled our pride flag, but it's also about unfurling the magnificence within us, that if we hold back, we're meant to unfurl. We're meant to be this magnificence, whether it's a flag or a sail. We're not meant to be rolled up and put away somewhere where we can't access that which is within us and allow it to come outside in all ways. What we know is when we grow up, society has certain guidelines and norms that wants to keep us in a box of conformity. And we know that that's not what our truth is. But sometimes what I find is that there are certain things that teachers, parents need to teach about us to be contributing members. I understand that. That's normal. But what happens is sometimes there's also shame and guilt involved in that. And then, even after we are on our own, so to speak, we let those critical voices within us put us in a box that keep us from unfurling and unleashing and allowing ourselves to be our magnificent self. That we're the ones keeping ourselves from opening up to our greater self. That we internalize these kind of things, these kind of self-limitations we have. And we don't recognize our own strength and our own gifts that we have. Now, I have a funny allegory about that. That there was 3 siblings, and they struggled as their mom aged to what to give her for her birthday. And they had plenty of resources, but she always seemed to complain about whatever they gave her. So the first son, the oldest, his name was Robert, and he goes, "I built a big house for our mom. I think she'll love that." Now, if you have siblings, you know they weren't openly competitive, but they were secretly very competitive. So Genevieve, the middle one, said, "I bought her a jet with an on-demand pilot. She can go anywhere she wants." And Jennifer, the youngest, said, "Well, I think those are great gifts, but remember, Mom, how much she enjoys the Bible, and her eyesight is failing and she can't read as much. So get this, I got her a parrot that recites Bible verses. How about that?" So they weren't able to be with on her birthday, but they sent her all the things. They set up the house for her. The jet was available. So by the time they were able, all 3, to go visit her months later, she was in the house, she had the jet available, and the parrot was there also. And they went to visit her, and they go, "Mom, sorry we missed your birthday. How did you like these gifts?" And she said, "Well, this house is very large, and I only live in one room, and I have to keep the whole house clean." And she said, "As far as that jet, I just don't go anywhere anymore. I don't travel, and I especially don't go anywhere on a jet." But I tell you, Jennifer, you had a good sense of what your mother really likes. That chicken was delicious. So, see how we miss the gifts sometimes we have in our lives? We can have all the abundance and prosperity, and we miss the real importance of it. And for me, the importance is not what it is, but that relationship with people, that deeper connection we can have. And also finding our inner gifts as we unroll and allow our flags and sails to fully unfurl. As I mentioned, sometimes we're put into a box, and I think our schools and institutions and faith traditions have done a disservice to us in so many ways. All faiths, Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, Muslim, Hindus, all have conservative faith traditions that are full of rules, and if you don't follow those rules, there's guilt and shame involved in it. And even New Thought, we have our own form of conservatism. I mentioned it a few minutes ago about that we box in what our beliefs are, that it has to be this certain way. And we also can shame ourselves or shame others if we're not following those particular kinds of edicts. So we just need to be aware of it. I think especially considering this being Pride Month, I was thinking about the Torah and the Old Testament and different things that people use verses to justify discrimination. And unfortunately, it's from misinterpretations, I believe, or not seeing the Bible in context of the history of that context. And I think if you're not familiar with the Jewish sacred text, it's the Torah, which is the 5 chapters from what Christians would call the Old Testament. And Leviticus is one of the most often quoted with condemning kind of verses. But what's interesting about Leviticus is that in context of that time, the Jewish communities, the lifespan, particularly of men at that time, wasn't over 30, it was about 35 years old is all, because of the hard labor they did during their life. Now, if you had a life of leisure, if you were a Pharisee or a priest or in government or something, that you could live longer, but people labor 30. So the important things of these Jewish communities that were nomadic in nature is having kids, because they needed more kids for survival's sake. So when they said they didn't want a man lying with a man, that it was an abomination, it wasn't about being a sin to God, but they believed God wanted this community to thrive. So they thought a man lying with a man was a waste. They wanted babies. And then notice they didn't say anything of any problem with a woman lying with a woman. It was only a man lying with a man. Because they really wanted, and that was the context we miss a lot of times. I was also, a few years ago, reading, there was a woman, her name is Glennon Doyle. She's become more popular in social media. But she was, had a Christian, what was a blog then, she does podcasts now, called Momistry, about the life as a Christian mom and the challenges of raising her kids in Christianity. And her marriage fell apart, and in that transition, she fell in love with a woman. And her followers sort of got surprised and shocked and freaked out. And she said something that will always stay with me, because a blinding flash of the obvious. She said that Jesus never said anything about homosexuality. Nothing. Nothing. No condemnation of it at all. And he also said that all the old laws are no longer important. What's important is loving each other and loving God, loving Spirit, and love wins. Love is love is love. And what's also interesting about all that is that after Jesus died, Paul took over a lot of the Christian ministry and is probably responsible for 2/3 of the Bible, or at least attributed to it. And Jesus was almost so progressive before people were ready for that turn. And Paul brought it back, like Jesus talked about the God within, and Paul took God back up and put it back in the heavens, and said that it was that vengeful God that the Old Testament had, that was just a testimony of that context of that time. And Paul put it back to God being this condemning person, and put us back because we weren't ready as a culture, ready to move forward with that love. Now, fast forward 2,000 years. And in the 60s, we have the Civil Rights Acts, and we are integrating schools, and suddenly all this information Jesus was talking about is coming back. And if you really look at the teachings of Jesus, and there's a pushback, because we're moving too fast again. And what I recognize is the meeting at Congregation Beth Shalom that was on Wednesday, the study groups we're having, different things really give me hope that there is a movement, and there wouldn't be such a resistance if this wasn't making a difference. And I wanted to replay a video that I played last Sunday, just because it's still hanging with me, by Joanna Macy. And she talks about these marches and events that happen and actually bring us hope, because there's a movement, even if there's a resistance to it. And also online wasn't able, because of a technical difficulty, we weren't able to show it last week. So I want to show it again here.
All the wise ones tell us that. But it's that knife edge of uncertainty where we come alive to our truest power. This is the biggest bite out of the tree of knowledge in 5,000 years. It's a recognition that our planet is a living system, and we belong to it, like cells in a living body. You can't pick up any piece of this world, a stone, a twig, without finding it hitched to everything else in creation. Now is emerging a fundamental change, like green shoots coming through the rubble of a dysfunctional civilization. The greatest, largest social movement in human history. As people acting in defense of life wake up to the grandeur of who they really are, look into the eyes of any being, you can see we're in this great mystery.
I don't know about you, but I've watched it like 6, 7 times. I get chills every time. This great mystery that we are in. And it's this turning of this great turning that we're in, that there is social movements that are moving towards a greater acceptance, a greater inclusivity, a greater aliveness. And it has to do with our awareness that we're connected with all of life. That we open up to these greater truths of what we are in this way. And we let go of that which holds us back, that which we think contains us, because nothing contains us. We allow ourselves to be unfurled, as Glennon Doyle says, untamed. She suggests we get untamed and quit pleasing and start living. Start living in an unfurled way, in a way that's opened up. I know that I spent 20 years, more than 20 years of my life making excuses why I didn't want to become a minister, even though it was like this constant call, and I didn't think I was worthy enough or conscious enough or able enough, had the skills to do it. Until it became, I realized it was me that was holding me back. Now, when we talk about this idea of being unfurled and just letting go of everything, I'm not saying that we are totally like there's no rules at all, because the truth is, spiritual principle is what guides us, the very oneness that we are, that we can ground into this. But I did run across a video of an event in England, of all places, that does this. And they roll cheese down the hill and everybody chases down. So what I'm suggesting about this is not what being unfurled is. I mean, why would somebody do this? I mean, they're walking away. All in order to get the cheese. There he is. But just don't think it's the guys. The women do it too. Just a crazy. So, the woman who won actually got knocked out, was unconscious rolling down the hill, and woke up in time just to grab the cheese. So that is not what I'm talking about. Let me refer to that. I love it. You remember when Timber Hawkeye was here, the Buddhist teacher? I loved a quote of his that I heard this week. It says, you know, as humans, we're supposed to be using things and valuing each other, but instead we value things and use people. And it's not about the cheese, folks. It's really not. Cheese is good, but we want to be conscious in this way when we unfurl and allow ourselves to open up to the greater truth, that we pay attention. So as we unfurl our magnificence, we pay attention to that mind talk we have that is limiting, that is about not enough of whatever we are, that we feel judged or limited, because that creates the box we're in and actually hides our magnificence that we are. So we let go of that, we deny it. I know denial, you're not supposed to do denial, but this kind of denial where we say this doesn't have power over us, this is not true. It's not true that this keeps me from doing that which is within me. I'm just making excuses. And I know, like me, before I finally decided to go to ministerial school, I realized I didn't want to become a minister because I wanted to stay safe and comfortable. So sometimes these limitations are so we're safe and comfortable. We don't have to risk. We don't have to be out there. We don't have to live out loud. But I encourage you to live out loud, because this is the greater truth of who we are. And we can find greater happiness. And yes, it might not make a difference, but it makes a difference in us because we're living our truth in this way. And it all begins with this very I amness, that you can say often affirmations start with I am enough. But if we start at the very core of I am, that is not the little me, but the bigger I am, that is the truth of spirit within us, that is the greater I am. And when we can do this as the core of who we are, this is the stability. This is the grounding of us. So we're not rolling down the hill like some crazy person just trying to get the cheese. We're allowing ourselves to be grounded in this oneness that all life matters, that we're connected to every person here and everywhere. And from that place that we know the perfection of God in us, we can affirm that's the deeper part of ourselves as well. And we can move past that limitation in all ways and allow our magnificence to unfurl, to be in love with ourselves, with other people, with all things. Rumi, the poet, says that stop acting so small. You are the universe in ecstatic motion. Don't you love Rumi? That we are the universe in ecstatic motion. He goes on to say in his poem, on a day when the wind is perfect, the sail just needs to open and the world is full of beauty. Today is such a day. My eyes are like the sun that makes promises, the promise of life that it is always keeps each morning. The living heart gives to us as does the luminous sphere. Both caress the earth with great tenderness. There's a breeze that can enter the soul. This love, I know, plays a drum. Arms move around me, and who can contain their self before this beauty? Peace is wonderful, but ecstatic dance is more fun. And on a day when the wind is perfect, the sail just needs to open and the love starts. The sail just needs to open and love starts. Today is such a day. To let us unfurl our sail and allow it to be. And in ending affirmation of this talk, I just want to go back to Johanna Macy's words.
As people acting in defense of life, wake up to the grandeur of who they really are. Look into the eyes of any being. You can see, we're in this great mystery.
And the love will be there. The love starts. Let us go to prayer. What I know in this moment, there is only God. That's all there is. We make it complicated some days, but there is God everywhere in us and around us, and we are connected with all life and with Spirit. And it is from this place that Spirit is this unfurling of our most magnificent self. Individually, as a community, and all the communities we're a part of, in our families, in our work life, in all aspects of our life, we just allow ourselves to unfurl. Because we know the love is there to support us. It is the very wind that billows and fills our sail, allows our flags to unfurl and fly. Because we know this is the truth of who we are today and always. In gratitude and love and joy we say, and so it is.
Holy cows. That was great, Jay. Thank you. You know, there's some misconceptions that we had to move through about musicians. Musicians struggle. Musicians suffer. Musicians sing the blues. So start where you are. We took it. And a little song about transformation and turning what is into what we want. So this is it.
I got the blues. There ain't no doubt that I got 'em, no doubt. Deep dark blue in my soul, yes. But I think I can change that color. I can lift it up to a light sky blue. Yeah, yeah. I see the tears falling. Oh, that make me sad, make me sad, make me sad, make me sad. But I'm gonna change those waters from salty to calm in a light sky blue sky. Sky blue.
Here we go now.
Sky blue.
Hey!
Sky
Blue day, having fun, blue balloons for everyone.
baby.
Have a balloon. Yeah.
Sky blue.
Jeans, blue cheese, blue plate special if you please. Hey!
Yeah. Sky
Blue thoughts in my head, satin sheets upon my bed. Give me blue, give me blue.
I have the blues, but there's no more crying, 'cause I changed my tune. You know I'm filled with joy and a light sky blue. Yeah, yeah. Now there's no more blues, no more blues. I got the feeling in my shoes, taking it up to a light sky blue. Feels so good now, light sky blue. Feels good, baby, light sky blue. Oh yeah.
Lifting it up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hey! Blue is the color of my favorite shirt. Blue is the color of my neighbor's yurt. Blue is the ghost in the blue machine. Blue is the color when the sky is clean. Yeah, gumball, Krishna skin, navy blazer fit right in. Fit right in? What? Turquoise blue toys, baby presents for the boys. Yeah, I love blue.
Sky blue, yeah.
Sky blue. Sky blue.
Sky blue.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this time in our service, we invite you to participate in the law of circulation. If I could have our ushers come forward. We appreciate any contributions you're able to give to us in many different ways. We know some of you give online through texting or through our Breeze system, and we appreciate that. You're also available to write checks, either to give here or to mail in. We appreciate all your contributions and that you are funding our vision and mission to be out into the world and living out loud. So thank you ever so much. So if you could take your contribution that you have either in your heart because you've already given it or intend to give it, or what you're giving today, and place it over your heart and repeat with me the affirmation. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I receive. And so it is. Many blessings.
I just want to thank you for all you bring to me. I just want to thank you. Your love has set me free. I just want to thank you. Ooh, ooh, for all you bring to me. I just want to thank you. Ooh, ooh, your love has set me free. I just want to thank you. Ooh, ooh, you're all you bring to me. I just want to thank you. Ooh, ooh, your love has set me free.
All right. I know that which you've given over the last few weeks and today feeds this vision and mission, and I know that all is well as it circulates in and through us, creating abundance and prosperity. And so it is. I do want to welcome first-timers today. If it happens to be your first time or first time in a long time, if you're willing to raise your hand, we have a gift for you. I think we have a gift for you. Is someone... Oh, there we go. Yes, right here. Once again, welcome Sonia and Hal. So glad to have you here with us today. If we missed you, there's a welcome table out there, and you can get the gift that we're talking about at the welcome table, or just to ask any questions you might have about upcoming events. That's where to go and get information about it, as well as there's a special sign-up table, I think, for the garden that's out here. You can do that. Or if you want to interested in volunteering with the production, there are sign-up sheets for that, or you can talk to Shauna or myself about the production team, so that would be great. I also, at the first Sunday of the month, we'd like to just acknowledge people's birthdays. Does anybody have a June birthday? We have a June birthday here. Oh, lots of June birthdays. One back there, happy birthday. What about anniversaries? Do we have any June anniversaries? We have a June anniversary back here. 2 June anniversaries. All right. Starting into that wedding month and that birthday month. That's great. And I also wanted to acknowledge that this happens to be your month of your sobriety anniversary. I know it's anonymous. We're not asking you to raise your hand, but we're just acknowledging you and the pathway of sobriety and recovery, and acknowledge you for that challenging yet successful that you're doing it. So thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. So let's give them all a round of applause. And then we have an affirmation for birthdays, anniversaries, recovery, and our guests today. So we raise our hands and we say, we bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community, and so it is. If I could have the practitioners come forward. We just so appreciate having our practitioners to pray with us. We actually have 7 practitioners on the road, practitioner candidates as we're calling them. They have passed their written exam and they're on to their oral panels in a week and a half.
Whoa.
So we're excited about them. We'll do an official acknowledgement of them when they go through the whole process. But in the meantime, just continue to hold them in prayer as they move forward in the licensing process. So please know that we are here for you in all ways, that we offer these prayers in the lobby, as I mentioned, online, and it is the practitioners and my privilege and honor to pray for you. So please allow that to open up in your life for a greater engagement with Spirit through prayer. Thank you. And then we have an affirmation, if you'll repeat after me, and then we'll do our new closing song. So let's all stand up and repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
I am led by Spirit.
I am led by Spirit.
I'm guided by wisdom.
I'm guided by wisdom.
I'm protected by love.
I'm protected by love.
I'm here to be a blessing.
I'm here to be a blessing.
I am so grateful.
I'm so grateful.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Love be with you, peace enfold you, spirit lift you, breathe it in, truth come through you, make good flow to you, let joy renew you, till we meet again. One more time on that. Love be with you, peace unfold you, spirit lift you, breathe it in, truth come through you, make good flow to you, let joy renew you, till we meet again. Love be with you, 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 love be with you.
So as we go forward, I know love is with you as you unfurl your magnificence. Have a great Sunday.
Welcome to the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living. We are a vibrant, inclusive, and spiritual community that seeks to live intentionally, love unconditionally, and see God in all people and in all faiths. We believe the work we do in prayer and in the community creates a world that works for all cultures, races, orientations, and faiths. For over 60 years, we have practiced thinking globally and acting locally to help awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. Annually, hundreds of people actively participate in our services, classes, events, and in our Spanish-speaking ministry. And we are training the next generation of spiritual leadership in our ministerial school. In the last few years, because of apparent divisions politically and socially, and because of threats to basic human rights, we have magnified our application of Science of Mind principles with engagement and compassion in action in the greater Napa Valley community. Our members have participated in women's marches, pride events, and we have hosted speakers on racial issues. We have empowered and mentored diverse leaders in our community and given scholarships to diverse ministerial students. We have donated over 4,000 pounds of food to our local food bank. Our spiritual director, Reverend Jay Lang, has facilitated an interfaith leadership group to hold public prayer vigils and 9/11 commemorations in participation with Jews, Muslims, and Christians. We have fostered the creation of a beloved community in the larger Napa Valley area by honoring community heroes at events and tithing to and partnering with a dozen different nonprofits that share our vision. Together, we've created a Martin Luther King Day of Service where over 1,200 participated in community service annually. The leadership of our parent organization, the Centers for Spiritual Living, headquartered in Golden, Colorado, recognized our community for all of the outstanding, compassionate work we've been doing over the last few years with the 2022 Meritorious Community Award. As we move forward to do this work of the heart, to awaken the world to its spiritual magnificence, will you join us as we continue to ascend to new heights and create a world that works for everyone?